Alrighty. Hello, everyone. I am back here going live for my Week 17 picks and additional NFL topic. We're going to try and get that camera adjusted so if my cameraman can try and get it so we can see the TV a little bit better. He's going to be filming. Bring it a little bit closer so you can see this, so you can see the logos and me, please. Alright, perfect. Alright, now make sure you crop it up so you can see the logos. Alrighty. So, yeah, you gotta fix that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do Week 17 picks. Some teams have nothing to play for. Others have everything to play for. We're gonna do that. We're gonna look at the playoff picture. So what we're gonna do is, as my cameraman's fixing it, come on. We're gonna go through these games, pick them, talk about them, look at the playoff picture and the scenarios. All right, ready? Let's do it. Also, the purpose of going live is interacting with the viewers. So if you have questions, chat them in there. However you do it. Contact me individually. Just if you have any questions, get them to me. I'll get to them after my picks. Let's get started. So, what?
So, just saying, all of this stuff, yeah, it says, like, Green Bay Packers, it says upside down. Tills 10, fix the camera angle. Yes, we are having technical difficulties with
All right,
that.
and for the record, I am not the cameraman. Sorry about that. So, cameraman,
Yeah, it's
get
my
through that.
fault. My fault.
All right, stop.
I
Fix it.
suck.
So we're gonna get started. Miami and Buffalo, no playoff implications here. So as I hope you can fix the camera angle. No, Jack, this isn't funny.
I'm trying.
Well, you're not doing good enough. I think Miami wins this game because I think Ryan Tannehill is gonna get enough done. I think they've played some good teams well. I know it's off. I'm getting it back. I think they've played some good teams well, and you look at what they've done, and as the TV is fixing itself, we have all sorts of problems here. Jack, here, shut that light off. This light. So as we're getting ready here, I think Miami's gonna beat Buffalo, and here's why. Ryan Tannehill is gonna outplay the rookie Josh Allen. Okay, turn the one right there. Turn the middle one on. Yeah. Okay. So Ryan Tannehill's gonna outplay Josh Allen, and Miami is gonna win this game. Does it mean anything for the playoff picture? No, but we're gonna do it anyway. So we're gonna see once this TV gets back on if it's any better. Then we got Detroit and Green Bay, another game that does not have playoff implications. But you know what? These players aren't worried about draft position or draft picks or the prospect. They're not worried about that. They're trying to win games, and I think Green Bay is going to beat Detroit because I think Aaron Rodgers is taking so much heat for something that he has not responsible for. They're 2-1. The Packers are since the coaching change. So I really think that a lot of this will end up coming down to if Aaron Rodgers could get weapons in the offseason. But for now, they're not worried about the offseason, and Green Bay beats Detroit at home.
Okay, about Green Bay, how many touchdowns do you think Aaron Rodgers will get?
I think he's going to throw for 3 because I think he's going to be playing. He's going to back up. I'm serious. I'm not laughing around. I think he's going to be playing well out there. I think he's going to be playing with a lot of heart. So, yeah, you can stay here. So, okay, he's going to be playing with a lot of heart. Aaron Rodgers wins it.
Also, comment below questions that you have.
Raiders and Chiefs. The Chiefs can clinch.
Amigos.
The Chiefs can clinch number 1 overall seed in the postseason with a win. I think they do it. I mean, I feel like they did this random idea that all of a sudden in Week 17, all these bad teams magically become good. And it's like, oh, it cost them a first round bye. Oh, yeah, the Raiders are playing hard. They want to play spoiler. Yeah, the 49ers are playing hard. They want to play spoiler. The Jaguars are playing. Yeah, of course everybody's playing hard. But you got to think of these teams that are playing teams that have nothing to play for. They often have something to play for themselves. Like the Texans and the Chiefs and the Patriots, the Rams, they're all trying to get stuff sealed. There's so many teams that have a lot to play for, and the Chiefs are one of them. So the Chiefs are not going to take it easy on the Raiders.
No, they won't.
Where are you going?
Upstairs.
Why?
You don't need me.
Well,
Adios.
camera's backwards. But okay. So next, the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. This will be very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting. No, it's like gonna be legit. Very interesting.
Yeah, because you got Tom Brady. Is he really hurt? I don't even know.
He's a goat.
And Jack,
And
you're
broke his
either
leg and
you're either the
sucks.
cameraman or you're not here. I and Tom Brady is gonna get it done. I mean, I feel like Tom Brady's always on the injury report. There's always rumors about the Patriots, like, oh, press says they're fighting and all sorts of things. But really, they stand united as a good football team, and I think that they're not as dominant as they were in years past, but they still got those playmakers. I love their running back tandem. They're at home against the New York Jets team that is just not at a level where they can beat with them yet. Although I am really excited about the future of the AFC East, which is going to be in the hands of Josh Allen and Sam Darnold for a lot of time. And I know this is probably really annoying to watch, so I'm actually going to try and fix this a little bit. There. I mean, it's still backwards, but I don't know. Then you got the Panthers and the Saints. This is a really hard game to pick because the Saints already have everything locked up. And, oh, there I am. The Saints already have everything locked up. So, really, who gets the win here? You got the Saints who have nothing to play for, but really I think the Saints are going to play their starters some. Because you got to look at, like, again, if you play none of your starters in this game, then they essentially are going to go into the divisional round of the playoffs having not played in 3 weeks. I don't think that's good. I don't care if you have everything clinched up. You got to just so they have the feel of being in action. Because if you're out for that extent, if you don't play for 3 weeks, it almost is kind of like coming back from an injury because you've been away from the gridiron for so long. Saints play their starters enough to the point where they could win this game. Cowboys and the Giants. This is a huge, huge game for draft position for the Giants, because the Giants and the Jaguars, they're going to be trying to win, but for the two quarterback needy teams that might be picking in the top 10, the Giants and the Jaguars are those two teams. Cowboys have nothing to play for. Giants have finished out this season strong. Giants win this game. Falcons and Tampa Bay. I think Tampa, they're a good team, but Atlanta's so much better than their record, and I think I've said that on pretty much all of my prediction videos, is how good Atlanta is, even though you don't see it. I see the potential in their offense, and I think they're just a healthy team away from being back in the playoffs, and I think as of right now that they will be back in the playoffs next year. Atlanta beats Tampa. There you go. Philadelphia, is Nick Foles really doing this again? He's beaten two really good football teams, the Rams and the Texans, both in close games. Could he really do it again and take the Eagles on this magical run? Well, first things first, you got to beat the Redskins. And I think they're going to do that. I think that they're the better team, and with Nick Foles, yes, I know my TV's off, with Nick Foles back there, I don't know what it is, but he just brings that energy to the Eagles team. And it's just like they're so different. And I really just look at it and you think, you think that, oh, they're done. They're what were they, 4-6? Then Nick Foles comes in and he beats the Rams in their own stadium across the country under the lights, and everybody's like, whoa. And then everyone's like, okay, yeah, all right, one time thing. And then they beat the Texans, and everyone's like, okay, he's back and doing it again. And now to give his team any chance to get into the playoffs, he's got to lead his team to beat Josh Johnson and the Washington Redskins. I think he does. And then after that, those Eagles are going to go have a watch party and root for the Bears like there's no tomorrow. Jaguars and Texans. Houston can clinch their third AFC South title in the Bill O'Brien era. It'd be their fifth in franchise history. I think they get it. The Jaguars are just not what they were last year. While Houston, I mean, Deshaun Watson's outstanding performance in the Philadelphia game is going to go completely unnoticed because he lost, which that happens. But I mean, I don't know his exact stats and everything, but let's just say he got 30 fantasy points on Yahoo leagues. So just kind of put that into perspective, although even in the games he's not winning, this guy's making plays. And the problem is their receiving corps is rained up. You got Kiki QT, who's been dealing with a hamstring injury for a good portion of the season. Why did I just grab my hamstring when I said that? Who's been dealing with a hamstring injury for a good portion of the season. You got Demaryius Thomas, who they brought in to replace a receiver that was already out for the year. Then they got the replacement guys out for the year, so they've really had three receivers who've been not available to them every game. And that's been tough for Deshaun Watson. He's already getting sacked a lot. So that's why I think Houston is going to be definitely improve their O-line throughout the offseason. But Deshaun Watson's making plays. If he has Lamar Miller back, that will be a huge upside for them because Houston, if they win or tie, yes, if they win or tie, they win the AFC South. If they lose this game, then the Colts Titans Sunday night game becomes an AFC South championship. Browns and Ravens. The Browns have been a great story, but so have the Ravens. Eric Weddle said no one wants to play us right now, and I think he could be right because you look at the way their defense stunned the Chargers, and everybody that Philip Rivers is gonna light them up. He stunned the Chargers, beating them in their own turf, and they clinched the AFC North with this win over a Browns team that is better, that is going to be competitive next year, going to be aggressive in the offseason, and they're not going to be playing for 3 wins. They're going to be a playoff caliber team next year. Bengals and the Steelers. If the Ravens win, the Steelers can't win the AFC North and almost certainly will not make the playoffs. But the Steelers get it done against the Bengals. They're going to be fighting out there because the Steelers, they are a better team than a non-playoff team. They were so close against the Chargers and the Raiders. They win those 2 games that they ended up losing by 3 points. They might still be in the competition for a first-round bye. But the thing is, they're just one of those teams where the luck hasn't gone their way this year. They've been close. They're better than missing the playoffs. But if the Ravens win, Pittsburgh is out of the playoffs unless the Colts and the Titans game ends in a tie. Remember that. If Pittsburgh wins and the Colts-Titans game ends in a tie, Pittsburgh would get the final wild card spot in the AFC. Bears and Vikings, as I said, the Eagles are going to be watching, rooting for the Bears like there's no tomorrow, because really if the Bears win, there is no tomorrow for them, because that's going to be the day where they're cleaning out their locker room. The Bears and the Vikings. The NFC North is always a very, very fun division to watch. The teams are always competitive. It seems like it's so hard to predict that division. It seems like sometimes there's a new winner every year. There is this year the Chicago Bears winning it for the first time since 2010. They've played well, but I think Minnesota is desperate, and they're going to get this win. Their 2 receivers are going to go off on the Bears secondary, and I'm sure Matt Nagy and that team is going to keep an eye on that Rams game. And if the Rams are ended up beating the 49ers like 42-0 in the 3rd quarter, then maybe he'll pull some starting because he's not worried about the Eagles. He could care less about the Eagles. Sorry, Doug Peterson, but I mean, he's not going to go for it on 4th and 22, but whatever you like to do. So, I think this will be a good football game. It's the national game of the week for a reason because Minnesota has so much to play for. And sometimes when these teams just have so much to play for, so much on the line, these clutch players are going to get it done. I think Stephon Diggs and Thielen are going to come up clutch. We know Diggs is clutch. Thielen's going to do that too. They're just going to show up and play against a Bears team that's good, but the NFC North just has a tendency to beat each other up. LA and Denver Broncos. So I when the Broncos were 5-6, I said they were gonna win out and take the 5 seed. That hasn't gone out so well. With Philip Lindsay out, I think LA wins this game and finishes off a phenomenal season, which 9 times out of 10 would win you your division, but just not with the way those Chiefs have been playing, because I just see the potential in the Chargers, and even though the Chargers are a wild card, what they're going to need to do, they are going to need to beat good teams on the road. They can. They've beaten Pittsburgh on the road and Kansas City on the road, so that's 2 good teams on the road they've beaten. And yeah, Pittsburgh's gonna miss the playoffs, but they have the skill to be a playoff team, and it just didn't turn out their way this year. Seahawks can win and clinch the number 5 seed. They're already in the playoffs, but they can win and clinch the number 5 seed. I think they do that there. Because I think Russell Wilson is very underrated. I think he's a dark horse MVP candidate. And they just signed Pete Carroll to an extension, and truthfully, I thought the Seahawks were done. I thought this was going to be a rebuilding year for them. I thought they were going to be picking in the top 5. But I must give credit, and I must say the Eagles surprised me. They did. The Seahawks surprised me. The Legion of Boom, it's like Legion of Boom 2.0. Give credit to Pete Carroll. Again, he just coached a team to the playoffs that many thought were going to be rebuilding, myself included, and he locks up the 5 seed right there. Rams need a win to clinch the bye. I think they get it because Yeah, say what you want about the little 2-game Sunday night slump, but you really got to look at it from the full perspective. The Rams have been a good team all year, and I just think it's funny how for a while we thought there were going to be such situations where teams go 13-3 and end up getting a 3 seed or a 4 seed, meaning they have to play in the wild card round. But now we're going to see a team that's 11-5 get a first round bye. And I just think that goes to show how tough it is to be in the NFL these days. How you look at some of these teams and you think, oh my God, they're never going to lose. They're just too good. Which to us, to our eyes, it seems like that. But you got to take everything else into perspective. You got to take into the grind on your body, the going out there every Sunday, the practice, the travel, the injury. It takes a toll on you. And these players are human. And that's something that I really like to emphasize, that we just think these guys are just athletes and they're like, we just don't see the human side. They're human. They have struggles. They get hurt. It takes a toll on their body. It happens. So a reason we see a lot of these losing streaks or winning streaks stop is because it's just the game takes a toll on them. But what you got to do in the NFL is you got to rebound, and the Rams are going to do that, and they're going to lock up the number 2 seed, and they're going to beat San Francisco, because San Francisco's been a great story over these past few years, because their 2 best offensive players got injured before the season started. So they're going to be back next year. So really watch out for them next year. I think that they're going to go unnoticed up until like the season starts. But look, they're going to have another high draft pick, Garoppolo and McKinnon healthy. Watch out for San Francisco in 2019. America's Place on NBC, the only place to be. Win, you get in. Lose, you're out. Or tie and let Pittsburgh have a chance to get in. Now, what you're going to do, Andrew Luck has never lost to the Titans in his career, not once. That is going to change on Sunday night. The game is in Tennessee. Derrick Henry has been carrying the rock so well ever since that Jacksonville game. He has not looked back. The Colts defense is going to be a hard-fought game. This is basically a playoff game, or tie and let Pittsburgh get in. Now, if Pittsburgh loses and the game ends in a tie, the Indianapolis gets the final wild card spot. Wait. Well, it depends what Baltimore does, but this is too confusing. Marcus Mariota is going to actually have a good game if he plays. There's a lot of this hinges on if Marcus Mariota plays. I think he will, but for the record, if he unexpectedly does not play, I think that the Colts would win this game if Blaine Gabbert's the starter. The Titans win the game if Marcus Mariota's the starter. But really, it's going to come down to Derrick Henry and Dion Lewis in that run game, because it's just that they've just been so good this year, or this last few stretch. So here is my picks. That's the wrap. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the Week 16 playoff picture. I am a playoff picture geek, just like I am a draft geek. I've already started some of my mock drafts, by the way, in case you were wondering. But let's really just take a look at this playoff picture. We're starting with the AFC. Right now, we've got New England and Kansas City with the first round byes. Kansas City wins, and the number 1 seed is theirs. Kansas City wins against the Raiders, and they have the road to the Super Bowl go through Arrowhead. If with a New England win and a Kansas City loss, New England gets the number 1 seed. With a New England win, they get at least a first round bye. With a Houston win, a New England loss, a Kansas City loss, and an LA Chargers loss, Houston actually gets the number 1 seed. Not likely, but it could happen. Also, get this. Do you see the Tennessee Titans anywhere? Me neither. But Tennessee still has a shot to get a first round bye. If they win, the Texans lose, and the Patriots lose. That's only 3 things. I mean, yeah, some of them are not very likely, but that just goes to show you how you can go from not even in this picture to there in one night. It's not likely, but it can happen. And the Chiefs, look at the Chiefs. If they lose, And oh, there was my playoff picture. If the Chiefs lose and the Chargers win, then the Chiefs are gonna do a full-on tower of terror and just drop detrimentally from having the playoffs run through your stadium to going all the way down to here and not having a single playoff game in your stadium likely. That just goes to show in Indianapolis, I mean, these two could still flip-flop. If Baltimore loses and Pittsburgh wins, they're done. It just goes to show you how much can happen. I think that look at these two playoff matchups. If this holds, these are both very intriguing matchups. Because look at Indianapolis and Houston. Where have we seen this matchup before? Oh yeah, twice this regular season, and they both played hard-fought one-score games. One went into overtime. Another one, LA and Baltimore. Where have we seen that before? Oh yeah, it just happened in Week 16 on Saturday. The Ravens beat the Chargers in LA. So if these hold, these teams are familiar with each other. These teams are good teams. So I think if this playoff bracket holds, and even if it changes a little bit, it might be the best postseason we've seen in a while. NFC, the Rams cannot get there. The Saints are locked in. The Rams, if they win, they got that first round bye. If they lose and Chicago wins, they flip-flop with Chicago, meaning Chicago would get the bye. Dallas has nothing to play for. They can't move up or down. Seattle can win and clinch the 5 seed. Minnesota can win and clinch a playoff spot. And if Minnesota wins, or Minnesota loses and Philadelphia wins, then guess who? The Super Bowl 52 champs are. Jack, we got a question. Jack, question. I believe someone popped up.
What? Wait. Read the big chat, boy. I think I'm not sure.
What? Okay. So Jack can pull that up for me. My camera ran.
Wait, I can.
Yeah.
Hi, Jack. Photo negative.
Oh.
Thank you.
Hello there.
Hello.
Great to see you tuning in. Just breaking down the playoff picture here. Jack, could you pull up the live chat?
You know me, photo negative? Who is photo negative?
I'll have to check. Pull up the live chat.
I don't know how to do that. Oh, fix the camera.
Well, fix the camera angle. I'm not
Howdy.
the camera man.
Read the big chat. Boy. Hi, Jack. You know me, or do you?
Well, I wonder. We'll have to wait and see.
Can you give us some hints, maybe?
Well, maybe they don't want to reveal who they are on the live channel. Maybe that'll be flavor. So, Jack, I
Okay.
want to ask you.
Sorry about that.
Jack, I want to ask you.
Yes?
While this is loading, who do you think is a sleeper team to watch in the playoffs? A team that might not be in a first round bye or might not be getting all the attention. Who do you think is a sleeper team to watch in the postseason? One in the AFC, one in the NFC.
Well, I think this is AFC. To be honest, I feel like the Houston Texans, they've been sleeping, woke up losing 3 games, and then just went on a winning streak. Unfortunately, they lost 1 game, but they're doing really good.
Yeah, I mean, they've won.
They're flying under the radar.
Oh, yeah, they've won, 10 of their last 12 games?
Mhm.
That's insane. And I mean, I really feel like if they could get a good run going, sure, they might not be having a first round bye, but I think they could definitely do some damage in the playoffs if Deshaun Watson's on his game. What about the NFC? These
NFC,
teams, or if you think someone else is going to get in?
I feel like the Saints have been doing pretty good. Bears, they haven't been going under the radar. They've been a really big team.
For sure.
Minnesota, I'm not sure, not the best record. So not really like under the radar that much, but mostly good teams in the NFC.
So, I'm going to ask you, I make my Super Bowl prediction a lot later, but Jack, since you're not always on the videos, I want to give you a chance. Who's going to the Super Bowl out of the NFC?
NFC,
There's still 1 week left, so Philadelphia could still get in. So it's either any of these teams or the Eagles.
can I do like first seed, second seed, and then like for each division?
We'll do that once the bracket's finalized. But for now, who is going to the Super Bowl?
Okay, I think
Just which one? This team or Philadelphia? One of those 7 teams. Who's going?
Saints.
So Jack has the Saints going to the Super Bowl. Definitely very legit. The road to the Super Bowl is going to go for them, and they're very hard to play at home. Definitely seems legit. AFC, again, everything is not decided. This is just if it was like this now. Who do you think is going to the Super Bowl, Jack, to play the Saints in your prediction?
Well, we just had another person enter the stream. Oh, and we lost 2 people. Okay, that's great. I feel like Kansas City is going to get there. Finally, Patriots will get out of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean the
which is
Patriots.
Kinda nice.
I mean, funny you say that. It's just the Patriots. I mean, like them or hate them, you gotta respect their ability
Yeah.
to just be so good for so long.
Yeah.
Why do you think Kansas City's gonna get there? I mean, do you think they're gonna lock up that first seed?
Yeah, and like with Patrick Mahomes, I just think he's a great quarterback in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Think he's the MVP?
Possibly. He's a runner.
So Jack has Kansas City playing New Orleans in Super Bowl 53. This might be your last time on the channel in the season. I don't know how it's gonna work out. I'm not saying yes or no. We'll just see what
How
happens.
dare you?
I just kind of depends on when I make the video. So who do you think's gonna win Super Bowl 53 between the Chiefs and the Saints?
Chiefs and the Saints. I gotta hand this one to the Saints. I believe they haven't won a Super Bowl in a very long time,
Think
and I
about
think
not in this decade. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. But with Drew Brees and everything, I believe that they could pull off the Super Bowl win. It's gonna be a very close game, but Drew
Yes, it
Brees and his team, they're gonna do great. So also photo negative. Still wondering if you're even watching. Still wondering though. Yeah.
So
Each
just
one-
a couple
just-
other updates for my channel as we're wrapping up this video.
Wait, I just want to say something.
Okay,
I just
go
want
ahead.
to wish you guys like a very Merry Christmas, even though it's late. But just wish you had a great Christmas. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
certainly. Hope you guys all are enjoying time with your family and friends. Enjoying your time off of school and work.
hopefully,
Yeah.
we don't have to work and stuff like that. So photo negative.
Yeah, but
If-
as we wrap up, just a couple
You know
other
me.
updates for my channel. I'm going to be doing my full. I'm not going to be doing my bracket predictions all like one thing. Once the season ends, I'll make a wild card prediction video.
I'll
Um,
possibly be in that.
Then
Okay.
after the wild card round, division round, conference, Super Bowl, etc., I will not be making the whole bracket. But also another thing I want to talk about is my mock draft. I'm working on it now. I'm starting to take a look at the prospects and that because it is never ever too early to be looking at mock drafts or I don't care if you're looking at a mock draft for 2047. It's not too early. Well, I mean maybe because those guys might not be born yet, but 2022 is not too early. I don't care if
You're
you
not
look
born.
scouting seniors in high school. But the idea is that I've been taking a look, and I think this is going to be a very defensive-heavy draft to start. I think we see a lot of the teams that will likely be picking the top 5 already know who their franchise quarterbacks are. So I think we'll see a defensive-heavy first round of the draft. So I think probably about 3 quarterbacks will be drafted in the first round. I don't know how many of them will start week 1, but we'll have to see. So
Photo negative, please. I don't know why, but this is annoying
we're
me.
gonna pretty much wrap things up here. This is not the last time we will go live, so if we did not get to your question or you didn't think of your question in time, this will not be the last. We got something. Jack.
Hold on, don't stop streaming. About to grab the gang. Wonder who the gang is, so let's not stop streaming.
Yeah, I mean, if you insist. I mean, if you have anyone has any NFL questions, thoughts on the playoff picture,
Mhm,
want to
yeah.
share your predictions, I'll share them on my channel.
I have a question.
Jack, do you have a question?
I can do questions, I guess.
Yeah, ask me any
Um,
NFL related question.
So, have you done your Super Bowl prediction yet?
I have an idea, but I don't release it until the bracket is like fully set.
Okay, can I just ask you to do the 6th, 5th, 6th, 3rd, and 4th
So
seed?
who I think's gonna be those seeds?
Yeah.
Um,
Not gonna get the Super Bowl, but
yeah, I
still.
think the NFC bracket is gonna stay how it is. I think we're gonna see.
Technical difficulties. Kind of.
I think this is what it's gonna be. I don't think Philadelphia is gonna get in. I think we're gonna see that.
We have a question from Tilton. Can the Eagles get to the Super Bowl if they make the playoffs?
I would say no because I mean, look, Nick Foles is a great story, but Nick Foles is also human. So if the Eagles make the playoffs, they're gonna be right there and likely playing the Chicago Bears. I don't think Nick Foles has seen a defense like the Bears since he's taken over as starter. So I don't think they can get to the divisional round if they make the playoffs because this is not the 13-3 team from a year ago. They're just not as dominant. They're not as productive on offense as times. Don't get me wrong, they've impressed me these last 2 weeks, but I don't think they will get in. But if they somehow pull it off, and they somehow do, I think they're a first round exit. Because they're going to play the Chicago Bears, who might go 12-4 and be playing in the wild card round, which is fairly rare. I don't think they will. I think Minnesota wins, stays there, but even if that doesn't happen and Philadelphia wins, they will be a first round exit. And
I miss watching Godly Gaming on that TV.
interesting.
Mm.
Godly Gaming is a great channel, by the way. Recommend it. So that's funny. What you doing over there, Jack?
Trying to figure out who Photo Negative is.
Okay. So, really, any other questions you have, we've been told to keep streaming. So, that's what I'm going to do. I know it just kind of seems like I'm streaming to stream, which I kind of am, because I've been told to keep streaming.
So yeah, and also I'm not going to say any names from people
Yeah, you don't want to expose people's names on live.
unless if you like say it's okay, but
So, Jack,
possibly not going to.
of all
Yes.
these teams that are in the NFC,
Mm-hmm.
which NFC team that's not going to be in the playoffs is most surprising that they're not in the playoffs?
NFC most surprising.
Yeah, you got.
I feel like, to be honest, in my opinion, and it's just the whole NFC or NFC like East.
NFC. Which NFC team are you very that's going to miss the playoffs?
I
Are you
believe-
surprised that they're going to miss the playoffs?
I am surprised.
Question.
Best defense in the NFL. What it from?
After what they have done to the LA Rams, and after the way they bailed out one of their receivers who fumbled, and you hold the LA Rams to what was it, 6 points? That's incredible. I got to give it to the Chicago Bears as the best defense in the NFL. Khalil Mack and Matt Nagy have changed that culture there entirely. Their secondary is much improved, and they are able to win games for their team when their offense. They've bailed their offense out before. We saw that in the Ram game when Trubisky was very, very off, but their defense bailed them out. There was one time where
Which
Jared Goff
team
threw it
scored
in
the
his-
most home runs in half tennis season? That's not a football
Wait, what was
related
it?
question. It's
What was
something
it?
about like tennis or something, or like, come on.
I am not a tennis guy. I'm sorry.
Wait, full negative. Which team scored the most home runs in a half? Oh, shoot. Sorry about this. Can't read. Yeah.
I'm just not kidding.
Which team scored the most home runs in a half in this tennis season? We're not sure.
Yeah, that's kind of a Kowalski analysis moment because I don't know what to say because the home runs in tennis and a football channel don't really compute.
I think I know who Photo Negative is. I
Okay.
figured it out.
Okay,
So
come whisper it to me. Because we don't really want to like just say people's names on
Yeah.
live
Yeah.
stream. Oh my gosh, I think you're right. Yeah, I remember now. Hey, I think you figured out who you are.
Godly
So,
Gaming.
hi. You are not Godly Gaming himself, but you know Godly Gaming.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good to see you on the channel. Finally figured that out. So, I think the Bears
Wait,
have the best defense in the
What
NFL.
letter does my name start with? Your name,
You could say it. 'cause
It
you-
starts. Wait, can I say the whole name or
No,
just?
no.
It starts with B.
What's that one?
Pluma Destiny 7. To be honest, we're not really sure what you mean by 7. So, yeah.
Jack,
idea.
do you have any other football related questions? We're probably going to stop streaming in a few minutes just because this has been going on for over a half hour.
Nice job, Photo Negative.
Oh, appreciate the support there.
So, like, nice job doing a stream, or did I figure out who you are?
Let's just say both. Definitely both. So, Jack,
Yeah, I'll
last
just say-
football question. We're going to wrap this up. Last football question. We're going to wrap this up.
Well, from my earlier question, Tills 10 interrupted me. So,
No,
for-
wait, what is that?
wait. Ho ho ho, ha 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 ha. Hello there, old chum. What? Hello there, old chum. I'm not an elf. I'm not a goblin.
What is that?
I'm a gnome, and you've been gnomed.
Alright.
Alright, looks like we
Noted.
showed.
Alright,
And
Jack,
then,
we're gonna wrap it up.
Question
soon.
from Tills10. Which Texas team goes farther in the playoffs? So like Dallas or Houston?
Yeah, I know what Texas is. Thank you.
Just saying.
Good
just trying to
question.
clarify.
It is going to be the Houston Texans because Dallas is probably going to have to play Seattle. And Seattle, just look what they just did to the Chiefs, and they beat Patrick Mahomes. And I just think Russell Wilson is going to be better than Dak Prescott in that game because it is more than likely going to happen. I say the Cowboys lose in the first round, while the Texans will. I think the Texans could beat the Colts or the Titans at home. They've split with them both. But I think if the Texans are on their best game, they could be a dangerous football team to watch. So I think the Texans get at least to the divisional round and play New England. And I think Dallas is the first round exit, and it's just kind of a matchup game because Seattle's probably that team that no one wants to play in the wild card round in the NFC.
And
yeah.
I have
So
a question.
Houston goes further.
I have a question. So, why is Houston 3rd seed and Indianapolis is 6th seed, yet their record is only apart by 1 game?
Because Houston's leading the division, and Indianapolis is a wild card. And then a second wild card because the other wild card is 11-4. Just how the standings work.
Okay, thanks.
So I think we're gonna wrap it up. One more.
Unless,
Read it.
attention if you loved one who has been diagnosed with
Oh, if it's a scam one, then just.
yeah, probably not gonna.
So
read
we're gonna
that.
wrap it up there. I mean, I'm sorry about the camera angle. We will try and get that fixed next time we go live.
Yeah, I suck as
Thank you
cameraman.
guys
Thank
for watching. Hope you guys had a great holiday season and are continuing to enjoy your time with your
Yep.
family.
Mhm.
That's gonna wrap it up for now. We will see you in the next video. A lot on the line in week 17. We'll see how the cards fold. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Bye. Adios. Gracias.